Have you heard of the mad Russian scientist Vladimir Demikhov? Let's talk about it. Demikhov was born July 31st, 1916, into a family of Russian peasants living on a small farmstead in the northern part of Russia. In 1934, he would begin to study at the State University, where in 1937 he created the world's first artificial heart and successfully implanted it into a dog, which did survive for 2 hours after surgery. After this, his work was published in April of 1938, and he was transferred to the Moscow State University in August of 1940. Soon after, he would be conscripted into military service and became a soldier in the Red Army when the Soviet Union was drawn into the Second World War. In June 1941, he served on the front line as a forensic expert and pathologist. But by the late 1940s, he was back in Moscow experimenting with different transplants, like liver and kidneys. It's no secret that Demikhov contributed to saving numerous amounts of human lives with his experiments. He was the first person to do a cardiac assisted device, first heart transplant, lung transplant, liver transplant. The list goes on. But this knowledge came with a price because he was experimenting on different animals. But the most controversial thing that he did with experimenting on these animals is that in February 1954, he transplanted a dog's head onto another dog using vascular connections to host the dog's heart. Even in the Soviet Union, it was continually criticized for being unethical, but it was not until the late 1950s that the news of his experiments spread to the outside world. In fact, by the time American surgeons became aware of Demikhov's dog head transplantations in 1959, he had already been performing these procedures for 5 years and had done over 20 of them. Due to Demikhov's experimentation with transplants, one admirer of his work, a South African cardiac surgeon, Christian Bernard, became convinced that through studying his experiments that heart transplantation was a possibility. And he was right. He would be able to do his first heart transplant from one person to another in 1967. Demikhov would die at the age of 82 on November 22nd, 1998, as the result of an aneurysm in his small apartment on the outskirts of Moscow. While the experiments led to many lives saved, it's still debated on how ethical he was and the lack of compassion he had for these animals that he experimented on. Now, I did not include pictures of these experiments because they are pretty gruesome, and especially if you're an animal lover like I am, I would not recommend going and looking at them. They did give me the willies, and especially since I'm a huge dog lover, it made me really sad. For this mini episode, I went ahead and made peanut butter dog treats, and my three goobers were pretty happy to partake, and they seemed to like it a lot, so I would give it a 10 out of 10. Anyways, if you enjoyed this mini episode, please like and subscribe, especially to my YouTube, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.